Hey guys, Massive Geek Guy here. Just let you know, this is going to be my first video talking about films and my thoughts on them, basically. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the first one, which is going to be Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, spoiler alert, there will be spoilers in this video, so if you don't want to see it, get rid of it right now and go and see another one, okay? I'm warning you. So, the good, the bad. Well, good, obviously. I loved this film. Absolutely loved it. I mean, one of the best Marvel films by far. Because, it shows you the struggles Peter Parker has with being Spider-Man and in his personal life, basically. Well, his school life and all that. So, basically, what happens in this film is Peter Parker is, again, going through the struggles of daily lives, trying to prove himself to Iron Man to become a member of the Avengers, basically. Yeah. So, I would say definitely go and see this film. Okay, definitely go and see it before any spoilers happen. Again, this is a spoiler, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Let's delve right into the characters. So, Tom Holland as Peter Parker, brilliant role. He pulled it off beautifully, killed it. Because this is one of his major film roles he's done. He's mostly, I think he's a dancer. I think he is, but he pulled this role off beautifully, really good. Because it shows, like, the emotional stuff of Peter Parker, him trying to take care of his Aunt May after she lost Ben Parker, and all that. And again, his struggles with trying to confess to Liz Allen, who is his love interest throughout this film, that he is who he is, and all that. But yeah, there are a few moments in this film, because I mean, like, Peter Parker, again, he's trying to prove himself to Iron Man, basically, and he mucks things up. He really does muck things up, thinking that he can do these things when he's not actually ready to do them yet. Like, I can give you an example. At some point in the film, basically, him, his friend Ned, and a couple of their classmates, including Liz and Flash Thompson, go to Washington DC for, I think it's a science fair or something like that, competition. And during this time, Ned has obviously found out that Peter is Spider-Man, and he helps hack into the suit, basically, and disables every single training protocol, nicknamed the Training Wheel Protocol, basically, and he removes a tracker from his suit so they can't track him. During this point, he gets a talking AI, which he nicknames Karen, and all these websuit combinations that he has no clue how to use. Because during Washington DC, he skips the conference and goes directly to this heist that's about to happen by the main villains, and he doesn't have a clue what he's doing, all these web combinations and everything, and he mucks it up. So yeah, really, by the end of the film, obviously he's redeemed himself, and Tony's very proud of him, offers him to become a member of the Avengers, but he declines, which is kind of surprising to me. I didn't think he would decline, because Tony Stark also gives him a new Spider-Man suit. Sort of, don't get me wrong, I like the Spider-Man suit at the end of the film. I mean, you'll have to see it to see for yourselves. I mean, the design is beautiful, absolutely beautiful design, but the colour itself, it seems too shiny, like Iron Man shiny. Nothing wrong with Iron Man being shiny, but Spider-Man, I don't know. It doesn't. It has to grow on me. It has to grow on me. But if it comes as a downloadable content in, say, Marvel Heroes Omega, I'll download it and play it then. But yeah. But again, he pulled it off beautifully. Well done, Tom Holland. Next character is Peter's friend Ned. Now, Ned is a character from the classic Spider-Man comics back in the 80s, I think it was. Because a lot of characters in this, you will have no idea who they are, basically. Excuse me. But yeah, he's a chubby kid, and he's a kind of a computer genius himself, like Peter Parker is. He knows all this science stuff, and he's the one who basically hacks the suit for Peter. Basically, Peter doesn't do it; Ned does. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention as well. One of the screw ups Peter actually does is during his fight. Actually, he has a fight with two characters who are. Let me get the names up. Where are they? Here they are. Herman Schultz and Jackson Bryce. They are two villains in this movie who are actually both Shockers in the comic book series. He has a fight with them, they escape, and they basically drop a Chitauri powered weapon source. He takes the power source and gives it to Ned for safekeeping, but it's actually a bomb, and it almost kills him basically. This is one of the downside Peter Parker has in this film, is he continually puts people's lives in danger, and he doesn't realise it basically. But Ned pulls his role off beautifully. Like he really wants his friend Peter to have a good life. Like at one point in the film, they overhear that Liz Allen has a crush on Spider-Man, and Ned bluntly says Peter Parker knows Spider-Man, and everybody hears him. And they think that he knows Spider-Man because he goes to the Stark Expo and all that, and he works with Mr. Stark. During which point Flash Thompson comes in, joking, saying that Peter's lying, and says if he's true, bring him to Liz Allen's party. Peter tries to do that. He wears the suit underneath his clothes, goes to Liz's party, disappears, and plans to swing in, say, hey, I'm best mates with Peter Parker, and then go again. But he doesn't, because at this point he gets interrupted by the two Shockers. Flash Thompson in general, who is in the comics, if you know, is Spider-Man's bully, basically. He's a bully in the school. There's not much showing time with this guy. I mean, he'll have to grow on me. This Flash Thompson will have to grow on me. He'll have to do a lot better. If he is in continually the character plays in the next Spider-Man film, which is due in 2019, I want to see a lot more of him. And if an Easter egg is possible, show him becoming Agent Venom or something like that. I can't see that happening in the next one, but we need more time with Flash Thompson. Liz Allen, Spider-Man's crush. I liked her. I liked her role in all this. She is a senior year student, I think she is, and Peter Parker is a freshman, so I think she's like 2 years or 1 year older than him. And she obviously knows that Peter has a crush on her, because he tells her later on in the film, I have a crush on you, and she's like, you're useless at keeping secrets. During which point he asks her to the dance, basically. The high school dance. And another spoiler, actually, which I found really surprising, is that Liz Allen's father is Adrian Toomes, who is the Vulture, the main villain in this movie. I found that really surprising, because there's a scene, he goes to pick Liz Allen up for the party, knocks on the door, and Vulture opens the door. And Peter's like that, for like about 10 minutes as he's talking back and forth to Peter Parker and Liz. And obviously Adrian finds out that Peter is Spider-Man through conversations in the car while he's taking them to the dance, basically, and threatens to kill his family unless he stays away from him. So, yeah, she did a really good role, Liz Allen. Now back onto the main villain, Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture. Really like this character design. I mean, I was not big on the Vulture in the comics, but this guy has definitely pulled it off. I mean, if a lot more people like this movie, you can guarantee in the comics at some point Vulture's are going to become a major villain for Peter Parker, apart from Green Goblin and Otto Octavius. Because I've seen him enough in the comics, there's always Green Goblin or Dr. Octopus. I want to see a new Spider-Man villain who really hurts him. Because he does in this movie as well. I mean, he basically threatens him, says, I'll kill your friends, I'll kill your family. And if you hurt my daughter, well, he doesn't hurt his daughter, but he says, if you hurt my daughter, then you're done, basically. As any father would. Like, if I had a daughter and someone hurt my daughter, I'd kill them. Well, not kill them, but probably give him a couple of broken bones and stuff like that. But yeah, he really pulls this role off, and it gives you a background into his past, actually, because it reveals... it goes back, before the movie actually begins, it goes back 8 years to the first Avengers film, where basically I don't know if he's a supervisor or he owns the company, but it's a clean-up company, basically, and they're cleaning up the mess after the Chitauri invade New York. During which point, Damage Control comes in and takes over, and basically he punches one of the bodyguards in the face, almost getting shot in the process, and loses his job, and they're out of business. So as they're there sulking in his base, they realise they have tech they haven't given back yet. He decides to keep it with his good villain friend, the Tinkerer, who is another Spider-Man villain, and he creates the Vulture suit, and over the next 8 years, he's still under the radar, like no one knows he exists, and he steals pieces of tech to sell on the black market to make money, basically. So that was a good backstory. Like, he was a father at first, then he became a villain because the people in suits were actually like he hates people in business suits, thinking, oh, they're high and mighty and they don't care about us, basically, which is how a lot of people actually think, actually. So yeah, he pulled his role off really good, really good. And speaking of villains, actually, there are a lot, and I mean a lot of Spider-Man villains in this one, even though they don't appear for a good amount of time. If you know who they are from reading the comics, you will know. Like the two Shockers I mentioned earlier, two Shockers. There's what's his name again? Herman Schultz and Jason Brace, right? During this movie, one of the Shockers dies, and that Shocker's name is Herman Schultz. He basically dies because during the confrontation where Spider-Man steals the energy supply, as I mentioned before, it was a battle through the streets, and Vulture's not happy, and he basically disintegrates Herman, leaving only his Shocker gauntlet behind, which he gives to Jason to be the new Shocker. Which and Jason does have a lot of time in this movie, a lot of character build up. At first he was going to run away, then he doesn't, and now he's sticks by Vulture. So he had a lot of character time. Again, like I said before, Tinkerer appears in this. I didn't think someone like Tinkerer would appear. I didn't think he would. But he's the one who's making all these weapons for Vulture and all that. He's a rather laid-back, timid person, but he really wants to go for the big jobs. Like the big job in this film where he decides they want to hijack some of Stark's equipment to sell on the black market, which they do in the end of the film, basically. But yeah, another villain that they use for a setup for the next Spider-Man film, which is coming out in 2019, is where's his name? Mac. I think that's how you spell his name. Mac Gargan, who in the comics is Scorpion, and basically in the first post-credit scene, when Toomes is in jail after being caught by Spider-Man, he comes up to him and says, spoiler alert as well, that a few people want to meet Spider-Man on the outside as well as those two, so which leads towards the Sinister Six story arc, which I hope they do in the next Spider-Man film. They've got to. They were planning to do it in Amazing Spider-Man 3. They have to do it in this one because Spider-Man 3 was cancelled. But yeah, I think one more villain actually appears. Actually, he's not considered a really bad villain in this movie, and that's Aaron Davis. If you don't know who Aaron Davis is, he is basically the uncle of Miles Morales, who is a Spider-Man in the comics. He's like 13 or 14 in the comics, and he first appeared in the Ultimate comics, but then went over to the mainstream comics because he got so popular. I didn't think he would, but he grew on me, and I love this Spider-Man, I really do. So yeah, he does appear in it. I think that's it. Green Goblin doesn't appear, Dr. Octopus doesn't appear, which I didn't really want to see them anyway. We'd seen Green Goblin in the last Spider-Man, we'd seen Dr. Octopus, give me some new villains. But yeah, I think, again, really good movie. A couple of downsides, actually. Downsides about this film is the Iron Man. Iron Man doesn't have a lot of screen time. I'm talking about Iron Man as I mean the Iron Man armor. Tony Stark does have a few appearances in this film. Like he first appears, giving Peter the suit to keep with him. Then he appears in India. I think he appears in India. Well, when the Iron Man suit rescues Peter from a river, basically. That's the first time the suit appears. Third time then he's on a video recorder saying to congratulate Peter for saving his mates in Washington DC. And then the fourth time then he appears to scold Peter after he almost cuts a ferry in half. And then the fifth and final time is at the Avengers facility. That's 5 times Tony Stark appears in the film, but only 2 times does the Iron Man suit, which is in the river scene and the ferry scene. And that brings me towards the ferry scene. That's where Peter Parker really screws up. He really does screw up. As in, he goes there basically he puts a tracker early on in the film on Shocker, and he goes to bust them basically, but he doesn't realise that Tony Stark has called the FBI through Peter's messages. Peter didn't think that anybody was reading his messages or taking him seriously, but Tony was. He called the FBI. Sorry about that, there was a horn out there. To call the FBI basically, and they think Spider-Man is one of the villains. But during this time, Vulture appears with a Chitauri weapon and fights the FBI and Peter. During this point, Peter takes the weapon from the Vulture, but it goes out of control and slices the ship in half. That's how it happens. Like from the trailer, a lot of people were assuming the Vulture sliced the ship in half on purpose, but he doesn't. That was actually Peter's fault. And of course he fails to save the ship, but they don't die because Iron Man comes in and saves everybody basically, and scalds Peter and takes the suit away from him. And then during the end fight of the film, that's when he gives his suit back to him basically, in the ending of the film. Because as I mentioned before, Tinkerer was after some Stark tech, so he persuades Vulture to hijack this highly advanced Stark jet, sneak in, get some tech, and get out of there, basically. No, that's a mistake, actually. They hijack the entire plane with everything on board, and I think Iron Man's Hulkbuster armor's on board, as well as other copies of his suit. So Spider-Man no longer has the upgraded suit at this point, so he takes his homemade suit, fights past the Shocker, who he defeats, and goes to basically save all the Stark's tech. During the fight, the ship is badly damaged, but he redirects it to a beach, and they fight it off there, where Vulture almost dies because his suit is badly damaged, but Peter Parker, before it destroys him, Peter Parker manages to save him from the rubble and leave him for the authorities. And that's when at that point he goes to Avengers facility, rejects an offer from Tony Stark to join the Avengers, and rejects a upgraded suit as well. At which point Pepper Potts turns up actually as well, and Tony plans to go into the next room where a load of reporters are and propose to her. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't think she would appear in this film, because back in Civil War they had broken up, but they're obviously back together now in this film. So, and another funny scene actually is right at the end, the ending clip before the post-credit scenes, where basically Peter Parker gets his suit back. It's in his room, on his bed, in a bag. Tony Stark says, "This belongs to you." And as he's got the suit on, he takes the hood off. He's looking out of the window, and May Parker is stood behind him, and she says, "What the fuck?" And the screen just cuts blank there. So she obviously knows he's Spider-Man now. He's not going to make up an excuse. She knows. She's going to have a massive argument with him and not let him be Spider-Man anymore, basically. So yeah, it's really got some funny scenes in this film. The villains, absolutely really good. Why did I say absolutely? They were amazing. Vulture killed it. I love the Vulture suit. Absolutely amazing. It really sets up the other villains as well. Shocker has a lot of time in this film, like I said before. Gargan really only has 2 scenes in it. Tinkerer has a couple of scenes, but he's like a minor support role, so you don't really see him like going mad or anything like that. I think that's it. Oh no, actually I do lie. There's one downside, another downside apart from the Iron Man armour that I didn't like in this film, is that during the plane fight scene, I'll warn you guys right now, if you have a problem with bright lights in your eyes, what they call them, seizures, I think they are, then, like, because if you see multicoloured lights, you get, it hurts your eyes, basically. I suggest you take a pair of dark glasses and put them on during that fight scene, because during the fight scene, the plane itself has a camouflage technology, like the helicarrier from Avengers, and Vulture and Spider-Man damage the plane, basically, and the lights are basically going out of control. It hurt my eyes so badly, I almost couldn't see for a while. So I'm warning you now, if you suffer from seizures, take a pair of glasses, because no one's going to own up to anything that happens to you, basically. And it doesn't, at least you can watch the final part of the movie. No offense, nothing like that, just giving you a warning, okay? So I think that's it for this video, guys. Again, get and see this movie as quick as you can, because I don't know if you can see behind me, but some people get a free poster as well if you go and see it, like I did. I went to see it on opening night, even though that was 2 days ago. Basically, I'd been knackered. I haven't been able to upload the video yet. But go and see it. I will have another video probably next week, second half of next week maybe. I'm going to see War of the Planet of the Apes. Okay, so I'll hopefully put a review up of that movie sometime next week, and I will see you then, guys. Massive Geek Guy here. Please, if you like the video, please leave a like or subscribe or comment, whatever, and I'll see you at the next video. Ta-da!